Episode number 273. He, however, arrived without accident in the camp established before La Rochelle, on the 10th of the month of September of the year 1627. Everything was in the same state. The Duke of Buckingham, and his English, masters of the Isle of Rhe, continued to besiege, but without success, the citadel St. Martin and the fort of La Prée, and hostilities with La Rochelle had commenced, 2 or 3 days before, about a fort which the Duc d'Angoulême had caused to be constructed near the city. The guards, under the command of M. d'Issat, took up their quarters at the Minims, but, as we know, D'Artagnan, possessed with ambition to enter the musketeers, had formed but few friendships among his comrades, and he felt himself isolated and given up to his own reflections. His reflections were not very cheerful. From the time of his arrival in Paris, he had been mixed up with public affairs, but his own private affairs had made no great progress, either in love or fortune. As to love, the only woman he could have loved was Mimi Bonacieux, and Mimi Bonacieux had disappeared, without his being able to discover what had become of her. As to fortune, he had made, humble as he was, an enemy of the cardinal, that is to say, of a man before whom trembled the greatest men of the kingdom, beginning with the king. That man had the power to crush him, and yet he had not done so. For a mind so perspicuous as that of D'Artagnan, this indulgence was a light by which he caught a glimpse of a better future. Then he had made himself another enemy, less to be feared, he thought, but nevertheless, he instinctively felt, not to be despised. This enemy was Milady. In exchange for all this, he had acquired the protection and goodwill of the Queen, but the favor of the Queen was at the present time an additional cause of persecution, and the protection, as it was known, protected badly, as witness Chalais and Mimi Bonacieux. What he had clearly gained in all this was the diamond, worth 5 or 6,000 livres, which he wore on his finger, and even this diamond, supposing that D'Artagnan, in his projects of ambition, wished to keep it, to make it someday a pledge for the gratitude of the Queen, had not in the meanwhile, since he could not part with it, more value than the gravel it trod under his feet. We say the gravel it trod under his feet, for D'Artagnan made these reflections while walking solitarily along a pretty little road which led from the camp to the village of Angatine. Now, these reflections had led him further than intended, and the day was beginning to decline when, by the last ray of the setting sun, he thought he saw the barrel of a musket glitter from behind the hedge. D'Artagnan had a quick eye and a prompt understanding. He comprehended that the musket had not come there of itself, and that he who bore it had not concealed himself behind the hedge with any friendly intentions. He determined, therefore, to direct his course as clear from it as he could when, on the opposite side of the road, from behind the rock, he perceived the extremity of another musket. This was evidently an ambuscade. The young man cast a glance at the first musket, and saw, with a certain degree of inquietude, that it was levelled in his direction, but as soon as he perceived that the orifice of the barrel was motionless, he threw himself upon the ground. At the same instant the gun was fired, and he heard the whistling of a ball pass over his head.